Well, welcome to the second Sunday in Advent. Everybody have your tree up at home, I presume? No? Oh, no. Invite me over. We'll do lunch. We'll do the tree. I love Christmas. Just love Christmas. So the second Sunday in Advent is about peace. The second step after hope. When you're birthing a divine idea, when you're birthing especially the Christ in you. Now, any of you mothers out here that have had children and have been in labor know that it's hard to be at peace when you're feeling the labor pains of giving birth and some nurse looks at you and says, just relax. And you want to tell her something else. At class this week, we were discussing how can we reconcile feeling peace when so many awful things are going on in the world. But, you know, I always think of Charles Dickens, good old Charles Dickens. He didn't just do that Christmas story. He said it's the best of times and the worst of times. And any time is that way, the best of times and the worst of times. Somebody posted a thing on Facebook this morning, all the quotes from Mark Twain. And it sounded like he was talking about what's happening right now. So every time it's the pain of giving birth to a higher evolution of our human consciousness. And it's easy to lose your peace of mind when it feels like the worst of times. I think peace is what people want more than anything else. Even though if I did a survey, what do you all wish for? Probably more than half of you would say, I wish to win the lottery, right? No? Well, good. Because we think money will take away our worries. We think it'll solve all our problems, but that isn't necessarily so. There's nothing wrong with money, but that's not what would make us happy. It's finding peace. And we have to realize that that's a choice. It's a choice, because when we think it's money or something out there, anything out there, it's putting our faith in appearances. It's putting our faith out there. Instead of, wait a minute, this is for me to decide. This is for me to choose. Peace is a choice, trusting your union with God that we awaken to in our meditative prayer time. The Course in Miracles, one of the great lines from the Course, think not you understand anything until you pass the test of perfect peace. For peace and understanding go together and never can be found alone. Anybody here pass the test of perfect peace yet? Me either. I'm glad you're so honest, because I haven't hit 100 on that yet either, not even close. And I had to realize a long time ago that peace is not a destination. I think I kept thinking, if I just get this done, just get to this time in my life, I'll be at peace. But it was like I kept chasing something that wasn't there. You know, I'll be at peace when I'm successful, have money, security, a relationship. When I retire, when I'm healthy, it just keeps going on and on until we decide to choose it. What comes first, the chicken or the egg? What comes first, peace, or when your life is finally together? Good old Emmett Fox. I know many of you are Emmett Fox fans. The little booklet, Mental Equivalent. How many of you read Mental Equivalent? Oh, we need to get that out. We need to order some. Mental Equivalent means, Emmett Fox says, if you want something out there, where do you have to have it first? In here, in consciousness, in your mind. And so you'll never have peace out there until you choose it first in your mind. Peace begets peace. And knowing your union with God is how we find peace. I can only have peace right now because I know my union with God and union with each other. That's the only way I can find it right now. And some people don't want peace. They'd rather be right. Anybody here rather be right than find peace of mind? Or honesty. We have one honest person. There's a movie out right now, and I don't recommend it because it's very angry and violent and all that. But it's called 3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri. And a friend of mine saw it. She said it's real dark humor and real dark. But I said, well, what was the redeeming value? She said, it was just anger begets anger. It's the only thing the movie was about. And it never really gets resolved. And I said, well, was there any redeeming value to this movie outside of the dark humor in it? And she said, yeah, there was one line in the whole movie. Anger begets anger. Anger will never solve our problems. It's like a cycle that keeps on going. And in the same way, the opposite, peace begets peace. Now get on a different bicycle. Peace begets peace. And it's our choice how we respond. Neil Donald Walsh has some great examples of stories of how we can replace peace with fear at the drop of a hat. We just do this. So I'll read a few of his examples. See if you relate to this. Have you ever been up on the I-89A around Sedona there where you drive up the... Well, he says, now imagine you're on a mountain road and it takes a turn and you find that you're driving on the edge with a 3,000-foot drop just outside of the window. You experience being terrified because you imagine that with one wrong move you could die. Anybody lose your peace of mind on those mountain roads? Well, that example might be a bit extreme. Let's try something else. I relate to this next one. An audience is waiting for your entrance for a major speech. You experience being paralyzed because you imagine that you stand a good chance of going out there and disappointing everybody while making a fool out of yourself. I experience that every Sunday. I couldn't get out of bed in the morning if I didn't choose peace first. Yeah, some days I do make a fool out of myself, but I have to stay in that place of peace. Here's some more. What if a spouse abruptly leaves? Or you get laid off from your job? Or you lose your home? Or you experience being stunned, angry, mortified, and sooner or later afraid? How do you respond? On a less serious way, someone says something and you take it personally. Do you lose your peace of mind? All of this, Neil Donald Walsh says, is based on your imagined truth, which is that this is bad, you're going to be unhappy, lots of struggle lies ahead, or whatever. And we give up our peace of mind and choose another path. But peace of mind passes all understanding. It doesn't make sense for us to be peaceful right now. It passes all understanding, and it goes beyond appearances. And it's like lifting weights. You know, if you lift weights, you get stronger and stronger. And if you practice peace, practice being centered, standing in your strength of your inner center, being peaceful, it will get stronger and stronger and easier and easier. Paramahansa Yogananda said, learn to be calm and you will always be happy. Learn to be calm and you will always be happy. I don't know about you, but I'm still learning. Still learning. And I believe it. I believe it. Just not quite there yet. I've had to learn a long lifetime of finding peace no matter what. And I'm sharing this next story. Most of you know my healing story. You're probably sick of hearing about it. But remember, Paul Harvey always said there's the rest of the story. And the part of the story I don't tell that often, it was very painful, is when I came home from the hospital, I was completely healed. Spontaneous healing. But I had been on so many drugs in the hospital. I'd been on morphine for weeks. I'd been on Valium. When they take you off morphine, they put you on Valium. And the day I left the hospital, I had a different doctor from my normal doctor. And I didn't know him, he didn't know me, and my brain was so foggy, I didn't know what had happened to me. He gives me a bottle of Valium. He said, take this home, you're gonna need it. Well, I thought, okay, I took it home and I loved it. I thought, Valium, I'd read about Valium. I thought, I don't want to take Valium. It's an addictive drug, and I threw it away. Oops. Not knowing I was already addicted to Valium from all the drugs I had been on in the hospital. And I went into a whole year of panic attacks, anxiety attacks. Horrible. I'd be sitting there feeling fine, and that would like a cloud would come over, and I would go in complete terror for no reason at all. I was so afraid I couldn't go out of the house. And I knew the only way I was going to get through it was to move through it. And so the first day, I opened the door, stepped outside, turned around, and came right back in. The second day I went out, took a few steps down, came back in. The third day I went a little further down the sidewalk. And every day I pushed it till I went to the store, got afraid, went back home. I even got afraid in church, believe it or not. Of course, that was back when I was still Catholic. You have to have humor in that. after a year of pushing the fear out, it took that long to get all that out of my system. But every day I read Isaiah 43, one of my favorite passages. Be not afraid. I've called you by name. You are mine. Should you pass through rivers, they will not swallow you up. Should you walk through fire, you will not be scorched. Be not afraid. I'm with you. And we had a song at church that put that to music, and I would sing it and I would pray it. Be not afraid. Facing my fears was the hardest and the most empowering lesson of my life. Both the hardest and the most empowering lesson. And still, when fear pops in, it can still rear its ugly head. I know immediately I have to center in peace. Immediately. And I have to move through it. Not avoid it, not hide from it. Repeat with me. United with God, I move through this with grace and ease. Together. United with God, I move through this with grace and ease. One more time. United with God, I move through this with grace and ease. Breathe. I know now that peace is not some syrupy sweet feeling. It's a place of power. Power of the presence. And like Captain Picard, you have to learn to engage. Engage. I think that's why I like Picard. He used to say engage. Yeah, not just there, you have to use it. Tap into it. Almost every Unity church you'll go into has a sign up somewhere. Peace be still. Peace be still. One size fits all solution to everything. Access your strength in peace. Receive comfort in peace. Hear divine guidance in peace. You'll never hear the answers if you can't find peace first. There's a book called The Book of Awakening by Mark Nepo. He said, I'm reminded of the great poet Stanley Kunitz. I don't know if any of you know who that is. When he was a young man, he struggled darkly with how to proceed with his life. He couldn't figure out what to do. And then one day he heard geese crossing the night sky, and he knew immediately what he had to do. In that moment of peace, when he wasn't trying to figure it out, and the beautiful geese flew across the sky, he found his center of peace, and he knew immediately. He heard the call. Peace is a place of power, and it's our choice. God will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. In other words, when the world is going crazy around us, it's like Unity's golden key. Don't focus on that. Focus on God. Focus on the presence. Focus on your center of peace. And the problem, believe it or not, will take care of itself. Jesus calmed the stormy waters by saying, peace, be still. He commanded the elements. And we do that in our mind. Peace, be still. Thank you for sharing mind. But I choose peace instead of my craziness in my mind. And our life calms down. The Christmas story, the whole Christmas message is full of peace. The angel came to Mary, peace be with you. Yeah, I know you're pregnant, not married, but peace be with you. And the angels went to the shepherds, be not afraid. Yeah, I know you just saw a UFO sighting, but be not afraid. Be not afraid. Fear will not protect you. I think some people think fear is our protection. Peace is your place of power. That's why Jesus was called the Prince of Peace. He brought the message of peace. And just before he died, he said, my peace I leave with you. My peace, not the world peace, my peace. My peace I give to you not as the world gives, which is conditions for peace. Do not let your hearts be troubled. Do not let them be afraid. And so this month of Advent, at least for this week, find your center of peace. Access your strength. Receive the comfort of the Holy Spirit. Hear the guidance of what to do and what to say in every moment. Engage that peace and be that channel of peace for the world as we await the second coming, the birth of the Christ in us. And we take that into prayer right now. We say thank you, Father, Mother God, for this wondrous Christ presence that is so deep within our soul. We access it, we engage it, we become it, we birth it. And we are so blessed now here together today. I see the Christ in you, please behold the Christ in me as we joyously give birth together this holiday season. We say thank you, Father, Mother God, in the nature of the Christ, and so it is. Amen.